Hello, and welcome to the debut episode of my Authortube channel. I am Bobbi Holmes. I'm the USA Today Bestselling Author of the paranormal cozy mystery series, Haunting Danielle. I also write under the pen name Anna J. McIntyre. Today, in my first episode, I will be answering Jenna Streety's Authortube Newbie Tag 2.0 questions. These are a list of questions that Authortubers are encouraged to answer to help the viewers get to know us a little bit better. Jenna is a sci-fi and fantasy writer. She's also a YouTuber, and I will post a link to her channel below. I decided to start an Authortube channel about 2 or 3 months ago. The reasons for wanting to start that channel I'll go into a little bit more detail when I answer the questions. At the time, I decided I would put off any filming until after I finished the book I was working on, and that book, The Ghost and the Silver Scream, it's book 24 in my Haunting Danielle series. I just released it on March 31st. But the world has changed since I made that first decision to start an Authortube channel. And for a time, even though I was about to finish the book, I was questioning if I should even start a channel or not right now. I have no idea what next week or the week after that's going to look like. The world has changed for all of us. And I know that it's always been a reality that we never know what's around the corner. Life can change in a heartbeat. That's just something that's always been that way. But the pandemic is different. And when it's over, I don't know which of us will be remaining standing. I don't know how the world is going to be different. So those were all the questions in my mind, and I wasn't sure how to proceed, but I decided, well, here I am, obviously. And back when I decided to start the channel, before I knew the world was going to spin out of control, I was going to tell you out there that I would commit to making a film about once a week, and I would do it for 6 months or a year. I hadn't decided yet which. And then after that time, I would reevaluate and see if the channel was bringing viewers any valuable content. If not, then I wouldn't keep doing it. But now, I don't really feel that I want to commit. I'm living each day one day at a time. And so what I will commit to is making films for as long as I can, providing I feel they bring some value to the viewers, until I don't make them anymore. And then later on, when this settles down, I can look at things a little bit different and make better plans. Another change in regarding this channel, I intended to film in my office, and I'm not. Our household includes my husband, myself, my mother, who turns 92 this month, along with our 2 very active Australian shepherds, and an elderly cat. And all 3 of the humans in our household, we are on shelter in place. We have been basically on lockdown since March 12th. And while my husband's retired, I intended to film, back when the world hadn't spun out of control, in my office when he was gone visiting friends or fishing or playing golf or doing something. Because quite honestly, I feel a little self-conscious doing this. I mean, I'm in my office or not in my office, but where I'm filming right now, I'm all alone. I'm talking to myself. That's what it feels like. So it's kind of strange. So I just didn't feel that I could do this in the house, knowing that he was nearby, thinking I was going crazy. So I decided to film in what I call our cottage. It's a guest house behind our house. My mother-in-law, we built this house for my mother-in-law right after my father-in-law passed away. She lived here for a couple of years, and then she died 5 years ago. Since then, we use this as a guest house when family and friends come to visit us. But at the moment, I don't think anybody's going to be visiting us because everybody's pretty much sheltering in place, people that I know. So because of that, I went ahead and ordered a green screen. So you can see I'm not sitting in the middle of the desert. So what I was going to do, to give you an idea what I intended to film, I was going to film in my office in front of my book. This is my office. In front of my bookcase. I know it's a little cliche, but authors and bookshelves sort of go together. But I'm not now. So now I can film anywhere. Cemetery, haunted house, whatever. So And since I can't get out right now, it's going to let me pretend that I'm in different places, I guess. I don't know. So, anyway, before I decided, when I was first originally decided to put this channel on, before everything else felt crazy, I started jotting down ideas for topics I really wanted to discuss. Now, some of those topics may not be appropriate with things going on. Maybe some of them are. I'm going to have to reevaluate. So, moving forward, I'm going to have to rethink what kind of content that I really want to bring to this channel, and I will discuss that more in the Newbie Tag Questions, which actually we can get to now. So, excuse me, that cough is just a cough that I've had for months and months, so just thought I'd know. So here's the Newbie Tag Questions. Okay. What's your book's pitch? If you have multiple works, choose your favorite. Okay, what's my book's pitch? Well, I'm going to say what my books are. It says if you have multiple works. I actually have 3 groupings of books. I have my Havasu Palms books. They're nonfiction. They're more of a done for personal reasons. They are sold at the local museum here in town, and I sell them online. One of them is only available in print. The other one, Havasu Palms, The Hostile Takeover, is available in ebook and in paperback. And actually it's in hardback too. Then under my pen name, Anna J. McIntyre, I have 2 different series. One is the Coulson Family Saga. Now, strangely, okay, the Coulson Family Saga just recently, Dreamscape Media just purchased the audiobook rights to the Coulson series. There's 5 books in the series. It begins in the 1900s with Coulson's wife, and then the 5th book, it takes us to relatively modern times. Ironically, Coulson's wife pretty much begins during the 1918 pandemic. So Coulson's Wife and Coulson's Crucible, the 2nd book, just came out on the same day as my other book came out. On March 31st, Dreamscape released the first 2 books in the series, an audiobook. So if you want to read about the other pandemic, you could check out Coulson's Wife, but some people may not want to really go there right now, so I don't know. I mean, who knew? So also under Anna J. McIntyre, I have a series of 4 romances. It's the Unlocked Heart series, Happily Ever After romances. There's 4 of them, each is a standalone story. The first one, Sundered Hearts, sort of ties in all the characters that you meet later on, but they're a series you don't really have to read in order whatsoever. But the series that I've been working on since 2014 is Haunting Danielle. And there are currently 24 books in the series. They are all available in paperback, large print, ebook. The first 22 books are currently in audiobook. Tantra Media has purchased the rights for those books in audiobook. And they just recently purchased the rights for the one I just put out, the one before, and my next 2 books. So they will be coming out shortly in audiobook. The last 2, obviously, that they purchased the rights to, they won't because they haven't been written yet. In fact, I'm working on one of them, but that's in the future. So, believe it or not, none of that was my pitch, but what I will pitch is the first book in my series, which is The Ghost in Marlowe House, and you can get that one for free in ebook at all the local vendors. I offer the first book in that series for free, so people can kind of check it out. So here is my pitch. An inheritance, a mystery, a murder, and a charming ghost. That's my pitch. If you were a book, this is the second question. If you were a book, how would you pitch yourself? She is feeling blessed, doing what she's always wanted to do. That's me. Okay. Question 3. What do you usually write? Well, since I was a teenager, I've written poetry, nonfiction, romance, and mystery. Okay, but it was the nonfiction that I made any kind of income on for most of my adult life until around 2011. I always enjoyed doing research. I especially enjoyed doing history articles where I would, research in libraries and old newspapers and interviewing people, and I always really loved that. But then in 2011, I moved into the ebook market, and for the next few years, I focused primarily on romance and mystery, and that's when I was writing under Anna J. McIntyre. But then I shifted genres in 2014, and I have been focusing primarily on my Haunting Danielle series. I usually put out 4 books a year, but this year I think I'm just going to be putting out 3 books this year. But I usually put out 4 books. I have been a year of the Haunting Danielle series. Okay, next question. What's something you would never write? It would probably be space opera. I saw the very first Star Wars when it came out years ago. I enjoyed it, but I never enjoyed it enough to watch the rest of them. I know a lot of people that hear that think I'm terrible, but it's just really not my thing. So I don't really watch or read. I have a lot of sci-fi friends that are sci-fi authors, and I'm proud of them, and I hope they do wonderful. But it's just really not my genre of choice. So so that would be space opera, not science fiction, but space opera. Okay, which is under science fiction. Okay. Now here's the other question. What's your goal for starting an Authortube channel? Well, my goal all along was 2 goals. Number 1, I thought it'd be kind of fun to reach out to my readers in a different platform. Some of this content may not be interesting at all for readers. Some of it may be. But the other reason is I wanted to pay it forward. I have been very blessed with my career as a self-published author. I love what I do. I know you always hear stories out there. You really can't make a living at this, which I'm going to discuss in a future episode. Or only people that they have a bazillion different things they have to do in order to make a living, or they have somebody else supporting them, or whatever. I make a very nice, very comfortable living doing this. I feel blessed. I'm doing what I love. I do this full time. So I want to pay it forward because I know there are other aspiring writers out there, and I would like to help them and give them encouragement, and like I said, pay it forward. So those are my reasons for wanting to do it. Okay, what made you want to start writing? That's the next question. I can't really remember not wanting to write. I wrote my first book, but it was probably more of a novelette when I was 14 years old. When I was very young, I can remember imagining, I have this memory, I was very, very young, and we had a street in a town that I lived in, and the trees arched over the street, so when you drove under the trees and you looked up at them, you could see the leaves kind of golden and flickering over them. And I can remember sitting there trying in my head to describe that if I was to write it down. My mom would be driving the car and driving us somewhere, and I'm sitting in the back seat looking at the leaves and trying to figure out how I would describe those leaves. I was a strange child. What can I say? Also, I used to love to daydream. Before I was a voracious reader, I really got into reading when I was in junior high, but before that, I loved to daydream. If I was bored one Saturday, I would sit in my dad's big old chair and I would just make up dreams in my head. So that was always where I was at. Okay. Okay, let's see here. Next question, what's your publishing path? Are you self-published, traditional, published, hybrid, haven't decided, or just write for fun? I am a passionate self-published author. Now, one of the Authortube people that I really enjoy watching is Alexa Dunn. She's probably one of the ones I watch most frequently. Now, Alexa is a passionate trade published author, and I like to watch her just to get her perspective because it's so different than mine. And I really respect her, and I think she has some great content, but I am like the flip side of that. I love what I do. I have always been an entrepreneur, and I love being a self-published author. But technically speaking, I'm a hybrid author because all my Haunting Danielle books are currently in audiobooks, and that's through Tantor Media. I did not publish those myself. And then now with my Anna J. McIntyre, the Colson Family Saga, those are being published in audiobook format by Dreamscape Media. So I am technically a hybrid author, I suppose. That's what I am now. Okay. Question number 8. What content do you bring to the Authortube table? Well, I would think my experience and my success as a self-published author. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that love to give advice and all kinds of things, and I've always been of the mind that when I look for advice seriously, I kind of look at somebody that's doing better than me, or at least as well as me, so, you know, you can get, and you can get a good info. Sometimes you can get, you still can learn things from people that maybe even aren't doing as well from you, so that's not fair for me to say just that one, but, you know, usually I'm looking for people that do really well. I mean, there's been different authors along the way that have really helped me, like Russell Blake. He's in a writing group of mine, and Russell's a character, but he has helped me immensely. Andrew Saxon's a sci-fi writer, is in a group with me. He's helped me. Nick Russell, he writes, he's a New York Times bestseller. He's helped me so much. There's just so many of them I could go on, but learning from these different people has really helped me an awful lot. So I kind of want to pay that forward. And I think that I have some valuable content that I could help other aspiring writers. So that's it. Okay. Question 9, what's your biggest writing struggle? It's probably being distracted on social media. I mean, yeah, because I'm working at the computer and I'm always, you know, I'm writing along and then I want to see what's going on. So I probably would be good to turn all that off, but I won't. So that's my biggest struggle. Okay, what's your best writing skill? You know, I was thinking about this one. What's my best writing skill? In some ways, you know, I would say my imagination, because I have a really vivid imagination. I always come up with crazy ideas. My husband used to say, I always hated when he would hear me say something like, I have an idea. He's like, oh my God, not again. So, but now he doesn't mind because I just put him in stories. When I have ideas, he says, go for it now. But probably my best writing skill, honestly, if you're looking at it from a perspective of what's your best writing skill that helped you succeed as a self-published author, and that would have to be my persistence. I have always been very persistent. You can ask my parents. My dad's not here anymore, but I used to drive my poor father absolutely insane from the time I was a little small child, and one of their close friends used to say, only tell Bobby no if you really have to. I was that persistent, and a little bit of a nag, a little persistent, but if I really wanted something, I really wanted something. So I would have to say my persistence, it really has helped me. And also one other thing is I do have the ability to complete a task when I set one for myself. And that's an important thing in this business, to be able to set a goal and to complete it. Unfortunately, I see a lot of writers out there that have been working on the same book for 10 years. And, it's just, it's hard to move past that if that's where you're at. So those, I think, to me, are the traits that really help me succeed. Okay. The next one, if you're new to Authortube, which I basically am, what's your biggest Authortube question? So technically speaking, now I am new to Authortube as far as starting this channel that's an Authortube, but I have had a YouTube channel for a while. And initially I started because I think I posted some videos of my dog way back when. It's not there anymore. But then I made 2 book videos. Now, a lot of people know these as book trailers. But when I first did them, I looked it up, and a book trailer is actually, well, it was back then, I don't know how it is now, it's a trademark term. So if you're an author and you say, I have a book trailer, that would kind of mean that you have the people that have that trademark made your book trailer for you. It's kind of like saying, can I have a Kleenex when you just mean, can I have a tissue? So it's a trademark term. Not all tissues are Kleenex, and not all book videos are book trailers, that sort of thing. So I have 2, after I've gone through all that, so I have 2 book videos that I made a while back, and when I decided I wanted to do this channel, I updated both the videos. One is on my Haunting Danielle series, so you can go in my, I don't know, wherever it is, I hear on my channel where it says videos, and you can watch the Haunting Danielle video. And I also have one for Coulson's Lessons, which is the third book in my Coulson family saga. I have a book video for that one too. So that was sort of my experience with YouTube. But as far as having a channel where I actively participated or anything, I'm new here. So what was my biggest challenge? Well, I've already, I'm thinking what my biggest challenge was regarding the Authortube was figuring out how to change that ugly, ugly green menu. On mobile devices, YouTube has color on your menu, and it pulls it from whatever artwork that you're using. Now, originally I wanted to use this banner, which is the banner I use in my Facebook, Twitter, and different platforms. But what happened was it pulled a green out of it, and it was really an ugly, ugly. So on mobile devices, the menu, I couldn't handle it. So I spent a lot of time reading and researching, and that was a big challenge for me. And I was told, hey, once they choose a color, you're stuck with it for life. And my daughter, who does my covers, and she's a professional graphic designer, Elizabeth Mackey, she does a lot of book covers. She made a new banner for me, and it was in blue. And we hoped that would change. Well, it didn't. And like I said, people told me, well, you're kind of stuck with that. So that was my biggest Authortube, was how to get the color to change, because I really didn't like it. And I went on YouTube and found all these videos on how to change it. None of it worked. Well, then one day, I checked my YouTube on a mobile device, and lo and behold, the green was gone and it was blue. So what can I say? So that was my biggest Authortube question so far, and I had it resolved, but it was never really answered. So I don't know, somewhere the YouTube gods changed my color. I don't know. So the next question, are you looking for any new channels to follow, betas, crit partners, or other types of writer buddies? And if so, tell us who you're looking for and connect with them in the comments. Well, I'm not really looking for any beta readers, because I use beta readers from my newsletter, from my Haunting Danielle newsletter. It's really important for my beta readers to have read all the books in the series, because one of their functions is to find plot holes or inconsistencies with characters, and that's something that a new beta reader really can't find. I mean, you really need somebody that's familiar with the whole series, and so that's who I draw from. As far as crit partners, I really encourage writers out there to use crit partners. I currently don't have one. I kind of wish I did. I had one I felt good with, but I know, honestly, I don't really play well with others. So I use a lot of feedback from my beta readers. I know this is crazy. They always say your mother is the worst one. My mom, now she's older now, but in her prime, she was a great crit partner, because she wasn't afraid of telling me if she didn't like something or if she did like something. And some of the changes that she has recommended in the past, or changes I didn't make that she told me I should make that I later regretted that I didn't follow, she really was a good crit partner. Actually, she's more of a beta reader, but still, she was really good for that. But I do think that that's kind of an unusual, usually parents aren't the best ones to do that for. But I do think that new writers really should, or all writers should have them, but I'm kind of in a situation I don't really have one right now, and I don't know. Anyway. But I am always on the lookout for looking for new channels to follow. I like interesting Authortube type of channels, and I've been watching different ones, and it's just kind of fun. I'm not really a big TV person, so I do enjoy watching different YouTube channels. Some of the ones, in fact, that I do watch, I watch the videos from the 20 to 50K. I don't know how many of the writers out there might be familiar with that group. I went to their convention, the first one was in Vegas about 3 years ago, I think. I went primarily because I had some writer friends who were going, and I wanted to hook up with them, and Vegas isn't too far from where I live. And I didn't go to the last two ones that they had, but I do like watching they have some good seminars sometimes and some good speakers. So before I decided to go to Authortube, it was me going and checking out those videos on YouTube, and then I started looking around for other ones, and I've watched, I like watching Mark Dawson. He has a self-publishing formula, and Joanna Penn and Chris Fox, And I also, the Alliance of Independent Authors, I like to watch theirs, which I'm a member of, and I kind of encourage you to be a member of too, if you're a writer out there. And so then when I started watching some of these different ones, I asked some writer friends, hey, can you give me some suggestions for some other YouTube channels that might be kind of fun to watch? And so I was given the Career Author, which I like watching them, and the Six Figure Authors, I like watching them, and writing with Jenna, she's kind of a hoot, she's very talented. iWritery and the Courtney Project, and then like I mentioned before, I like watching Alexa Dunn. So those are just some of them that I watched, but I'm always make suggestions, other ones if you know that I should listen to. I like checking them out. I don't watch every single video of every single one, but I'll look around if I see one. And I always am sort of drawn to the ones that say, you know, self-publishing versus traditional. It's always kind of fun for me to see what their point of views are on that. Okay, and the last question is, what are you most excited for during this new fresh start on Authortube? Well, I'm getting out of my comfort zone because I'm not used to doing this. Also, now that I'm sheltering in place, it's an excuse to finally like comb my hair, put my makeup on. But as time goes on, it depends how long this is going to happen. And if I keep doing that, I think my hair is going to get a little too long and a little too gray, but we'll have to see what happens there. But at least I got out of my pajama bottoms this morning, which is really a good thing. So, you know, that's one of the reasons. But I don't know. I just thought this might be fun. Try out a new medium. I always like to try something new. And I did kind of think that Authortube needed a little bit more mature voice, because there's young gals and young guys out there, and I mean, well guys, I did go on Medicare this year, so that kind of gives you an idea how old I am. So, yeah, well, just don't call me Grandma Bobbi. My grandkids can call me that, that's all. So anyway, I think I will sign off now because I just am. I think I answered everyone. Now my next one, I am thinking of seriously, the next one will be on author income and explore that, because I do disagree when they say, oh, nobody really makes any money at this, it's only the outliers, it's only the unicorns, and I totally disagree with that. So we'll talk about that later, and bye.